forward to interviewing Jo Acharya about her new book. I hope there'll be a lot of people joining us. This is the 4th series. That's a live video. Oh, thank you, Ezio. Happy New Year. Thank you for joining us. It's nice to see you. It's the first time back on air, so I'm hoping there will be people to join. We haven't done one for a while now because I was launching a book, as you all know, so I just thought to have a bit of a break. So I thought I'll come on air a bit early and to kind of make sure my connections are okay. So thank you, Ezio, for joining. That's nice to know. Happy New Year, dear. So I'm looking forward to interviewing Jo Acharya about her new book, Refresh. And I've seen there's been a lot of events around Refresh. So I'm looking forward to meeting Jo. I've met Jo, I think, in one of the Christian groups on Facebook, and she put a blog up for me, and that's how I connected with her. And then once she released her book, yeah, we've still got 2 more minutes, and hopefully there will be more. I hope there will be more people joining us from across the globe. In fact, I'm 2 Americans, and now Jo is my second UK author. So it's been an amazing 2022, I have to say. We've only just started, and what's today, 26? Ezio, how is your year going? So it's still, wow. Oh, that's a yes. It's amazing so far, so good. I can only thank the man up there, Ezio. You know, you have to keep doing what you have to do, and yeah, hopefully things will fall in place for everyone. So, oh, you're joining from India. Welcome, Jo. I can't see you yet. It says you've already joined, but how do I? This seems a bit different. I know you're here. Oh, it's 1 a.m. in India. Okay. Oh, praise the living Jesus. So, Jo, I can't seem to see you. Okay, sent a request to be in your live video. So how do I accept you now? Let me see. Yep. Hopefully she will be in. 1 a.m. Hi!
Hello!
Hello! I was a bit worried, Jo.
Yeah, I didn't know how to do it.
Oh, no!
There was a little button saying that I could request to join, so I thought, oh, I'll do that. So
I'm glad you made it in the end, because it's been a long wait. And,
oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see any invitation.
Yeah. It took us a while, so I just thought, so first author in 2022. Happy New Year!
Happy New Year! Nice to meet you in person, or across a live video at least. I just email.
You know what? I've just had to put a cushion underneath my chair, otherwise I was looking a bit too low within the camera. So I thought, let me put and I'll just say a bit about this series, and then we'll get on with this interview, and then you can tell us so much about this amazing book. It looks like you've frozen. Ooh. What is going on? Oh my God. Oh, I've lost her. Ooh, she's left me. I have no idea what's going on. Let me accept her. Maybe it's the connection. Thank you for joining us, Ria, and Creative.
Hi.
Hi.
Sorry, I don't know what happened there.
It wasn't
I
me.
haven't done this before.
Oh.
I'm going to keep my hands off the phone, otherwise it might go weird.
Oh. my daughter trying to ring, even though I told her I was online. I have. Yeah. So you've got 2 people joining you at the moment. So I just wanted to say,
yes.
Yeah, Ria Toin and Creative Art from India. I'm not sure where Ria Toin is from, but yeah, she's online.
Ria's a friend of mine.
Oh, thank you.
Hello, Ria.
You can see them, can't you, on your screen?
I can, yes. Yeah,
you can. In case they want to ask you questions during the interview is why I kind of just shout out. Yeah.
Cool.
This series is about 8 months old, I would say, and the only reason why I do this is just to give authors a bit of some time to kind of tell us about what they're doing. And I only kind of decided to do this because I release quite a series of books, and sometimes it's quite difficult to get your books noticed, and I just thought, what can I do to support the author industry? So this is how I came up with this series. And
thank you for inviting me on. It's a great idea.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I'm sure it's been really helpful to lots of people you've had on.
I hope so. And yeah, mainly it's for new releases. Books that have just been released is what I tend to tag. And I think hopefully there will be more people publishing, and so maybe I can do it more often. But at the moment, I just do it once a month. And yeah, so I kind of would like you to tell us, Joe, yourself and how I kind of connected with you, and maybe just like an icebreaker before we get into the nick of the interview. Yeah,
sorry, your voice went a little bit there, but the sound went, but you wanted me to say a bit about my journey and how
yes,
so so my book Refresh has just come out, and that's been I think 3 years in the making. It's been a slow process, so that's really exciting. And in the process of that, I kind of realized I'm going to have to market this book and like promote it myself, and so I kind of set up a website and things like that and started blogging as well. And you got in touch with me, didn't you? Because you were doing a book launch for your book, for your memoirs.
Wow.
So I did an interview with you on my blog.
Fantastic.
Was it October?
Yes, it was.
Yeah. So that was really cool. So I got to hear a bit about your journey there, didn't I?
Yes, you did.
And yeah, so that's how we connected. And then you're sort of returning the favor with a live interview.
Oh,
even better. So thank you.
I did think that was great, because when I connected with you, I met you on the Christian group chat, I think.
Yes. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. The Facebook group.
About a book tour. I had never done one before, so I was people that were blogging, and I just kind of came across your website. I don't even know how, and that's how you invited me to your blog, and I think it was amazing. I kind of got a few people thereafter, but
great.
Thank you. I just think it's good to kind of repay you back, like you rightly.
Well, it's that Facebook group that we met on it seems to be really supportive. There's lots of lots of people kind of really helping each other out and kind of promoting each other's work, and so it's really good. I'm really grateful to be in that group and have met like lots of lovely people that have encouraged me.
I'm not very active in there, but I do go in and out. I think there's an event coming up, if it's the right group, on February 19. There's also like a poetry group, I think that's stem out of that group, if it's the ACW.
Yeah, okay.
Well, a lady in France manages that group, so yeah, I do join in once a month when I'm.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I didn't know about that one.
Yeah, I think it's called the Trellis Poetry Group. A lady called. I hope it's the same group that we're referring to within the ACW.
Right.
So I could give you her contacts if you wanted to join, but she's kind of, it's about more poetry. Yeah. Yeah,
which is your area, isn't it? You write poetry.
Poetry, yeah.
I'm not so good at the poetry.
Well, your book looks amazing, Joe. I have
Thank you. I've got a copy here.
Oh, wow. Look at the cover. Yeah, I love it.
I don't know if that appears back to front or not, but that's what it looks like.
Yeah, it is back to front somehow. I'm not sure how.
I think it's because my camera is on like the one that faces me, so I think then it's like mirror image. But
it's beautiful. And I've seen you did when you did that live video before the book was released, and you were showing us the pages. Yes, I
Yeah.
kind of like the colors, and there's some activity thing going on. So
Yeah. Yeah.
we're going to start this interview if you are ready.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
There might be others joining us. You've still got two watching us at the moment, and thank you for watching, Ezio and Ria. So Joe, if you can tell us a bit about your journey, what has inspired you to start writing? How did you come about this writing journey?
Well, I think I've always loved writing. And when I was a kid, I used to write stories, and I thought I was going to be an author of children's books. That was my dream.
Right.
But then as an adult, I kind of went in a different direction, kind of went more into music, became a music therapist as well. And so I was kind of, yeah, I didn't really write apart from music for quite a long time. But in the last, I think 3 years now, I've been helping to lead a small group at my church, which is for people with learning needs, or people who just need a bit more time to learn and need appreciate having things a bit simpler.
Yeah.
So I've worked with people with learning disabilities for a long time, and so I started to help leading that group, and found that actually quite a few of the people in the group, some people also struggle with their mental health a bit and things like that. And I was starting to think about what the Bible says about well-being,
Right.
and thinking about how other friends of mine as well, you know, that struggle with anxiety and things, it might be really helpful to have a kind of a wellness journal, which seemed to be kind of a trend, but from a Christian perspective. And I was looking for something like that, thinking that some people I knew could benefit from it, and there just didn't seem to be anything out there.
Wow.
So you had kind of wellness journals that were kind of secular,
Right.
and they'd be talking about, you know, looking after your mind and looking after your body and all of this sort of stuff. And they might have something kind of vaguely spiritual,
Right.
but there wasn't anything like from a real Christian perspective. So I thought, this seems like this would be something that would be helpful. So yeah, so that was the inspiration. That was where the idea first came from.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing, because I work with people with mental health. Yeah, for 20 years. So when you spoke about learning disabilities, because I went to read a bit about your journey, and I was quite intrigued, because I work within the field as well. So
yeah.
And this is interesting that it's a Christian perspective. So what age group is this book kind of? What's the audience? Because you spoke about young kids here, and so.
Yeah, so this isn't a children's book. This is definitely for adults, probably older teenagers, possibly as well. But really, it's for adults.
For adults.
And I think it's for like a wide range of people could potentially could benefit from it. But I definitely had in mind particularly people that might be kind of struggling either with physical health or mental health. I have a chronic illness myself. So
we will get to
people that are struggling in that way, or people that are just feeling weary in life or in their faith. People that just need something a bit
kind of.
I kind of imagined it as like a gentle companion to just kind of come alongside people that are just maybe finding life a bit tough, and kind of help them to connect with God.
During the pandemic, which I think is speaking about people going through a lot of events, and right now we're just easing our way out of this 2 years of, I don't know what to lay my finger on at the moment. So I think it might be a book that would connect a lot with a lot of people.
Yeah.
Where people are on the journey. So maybe you might just want to show us a bit inside the book, if you can.
Yeah. What you just said though, that's really interesting, because I felt the same. And I started writing this before the pandemic, before we had any idea that anything like that was coming.
Right.
But as you say, like all of us, I think to some extent have found ourselves struggling during this period. So I feel like it's really a book for where we're at now. But yeah, I'll show you a little bit. Let me see if I can It will, it's all going to be back to front, I'm sorry, but you'll at least see the kind of the colours and things. Let me just turn it around a bit. So I'm trying to hold it up.
Yeah.
So each topic starts with a picture. These are taken by my husband Dan.
Oh, wow.
And they just kind of form the basis of like the colour and the design.
Right.
So yeah, I'm sort of, you can kind of see a little bit of, yeah. And like you said, there are kind of pages where you've got questions that you can kind of fill in answers to and things.
I have to leave.
But yeah, it's a very colourful book.
It does look quite intriguing. I'm not one for activity, but this one has really caught my attention. The night when you did I don't know what you call the video, but I did tune into your live video and I was quite amazed with the colors, and it looks quite engaging, and you can have go to work on the train. So I'm thinking I should get one myself. And
you're very welcome. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, I really wanted it to look beautiful. I think we've accomplished that thanks to sort of the other people that have inputted in the design and things, because it makes you want to engage with it, and that was something I really wanted. So
it is, and I have to say, and the green kind of pops. Not a lot of too many out there because of nature. You know, people are into nature, trees, and the title as well is quite refreshing.
Yes. Yes, refresh.
Refresh.
Yeah.
We want to kind of feel more refreshed now and kind of go on our journey. So
yeah,
what do you think you've learned by writing this book? What has it made you think differently, or what have you learned?
I think it's really made me think, and it's made me become more passionate about the things that I was wanting to write about in the first place. So things about God really caring about our well-being in different areas of life and wanting to be involved in our lives, not just on a Sunday morning at church, but through all of our lives, all of those everyday things, the good and the bad and the sort of mediocre stuff, the kind of boring bits in between. He wants to be invited into all of that and involved in all of it. And I think, through writing this book, I've kind of got more and more kind of passionate about that, like our faith is not just for those times when we're at church, or those times, or even for those times in the day when we might be reading the Bible or praying, but actually he's involved in all of our lives and wants to be involved in all of our lives, and he cares about it all. So that's something that I've really, it's kind of inspired me more in that area to kind of think about that in my own life, but also to kind of talk about that and share that with others as well.
So anyone that picks up this book, what are you expecting them to get at the end of the book when they finish reading Refresh? What should they be hoping they will be receiving?
I think that will probably be different for everybody. As you said, there's kind of activities in there, so it's quite personal. It's divided into weeks, and each week there's kind of one Bible passage and a reflection to read. And then there's 3 questions which kind of help you think about how what you've just thought about might relate to your own life. And I think, and then at the end of the week, there's kind of reflective questions as well that help you think about how you're doing emotionally, how you're doing personally, you know, what's stressing you out, what's helping you relax. Are there any things you need to talk to someone about, things like that. So it really is a book that you kind of bring yourself to. So I would hope that somebody working through this book would learn more about themselves and more about their relationship with God, and would grow in friendship with him. But that's obviously very general, and for each person I think that will look different, because all of the topics in here, topics like rest and looking after our bodies and managing our feelings, all of those things are going to kind of look different for different people in different situations. So I mean, I think it'll be an individual journey for each person.
Okay. And because you spoke about anxiety and mental health, and you work also with learning disabilities, So those are kind of areas of need, and
Yeah.
who are watching you at the moment wondering, oh, I just suffer with a bit of anxiety. I wonder if there's something in that book for me, and maybe this is one book that I should get if I haven't even bought a book before, you know. So I hope if any of our viewers have got anybody that fits into this criteria, I actually think with what has just affected us right now with this pandemic, everyone should be connecting with this book to kind of see what we can benefit from it. And so I will be your first Amazon customer tomorrow morning.
Oh, thank you, Sabina. That's very kind.
I need to start buying the books of people I'm interviewing is what I yeah. So you do speak about some challenges you faced, Joe. And when I read your story, I was actually quite emotional. And I also know you said it took you about 3 years to finish this book. So is this something you would like to share with the audience? Because I did ask you, what challenges have you faced?
Yes. So I think I did reread my answers to you earlier. I think I talked about my health, didn't I? Mm-hmm. So I have cystic fibrosis, which most people think of as a lung condition, but it affects other parts of your body as well. But it is mainly, it has a big effect on the lungs. So my lung capacity is quite reduced, which has a knock-on effect on my energy levels. So I have to pace myself, and I can't, I don't have the energy, the kind of stamina of a person who's healthy. So I think that's one reason why it took me a long time to finish Refresh, because even mental energy, there's only so much you can manage. And because I have to do treatments and things during the day, I kind of had limited time to kind of work on it. And that was a challenge. But I think it also definitely helped me. I mean, it definitely informed the perspective that I write it from, because I know what it's like to kind of struggle with your health and to have that difficulty, and kind of, some days you can do more than others, and it's not always predictable, which was one of the reasons as well that I wanted to make this a weekly devotional rather than a daily one, because actually there's a lot of people like me that might struggle to keep up with a daily devotional because their energy levels might fluctuate. It might just feel like too much pressure to have to do something every day. So I definitely had that in mind when I was writing it. And I also tried as well to kind of be sensitive to kind of different kinds of situations that people might find themselves in. So, these topics that I've chosen, I think are relevant to everybody, but they're going to be relevant in different ways, and people are going to struggle with some aspects of them if they have particular difficulties. If you're chronically ill, for example, then there's a topic in here about how do we relate to God in suffering. And so if you're someone that has kind of a long-term health condition, that's something we have to think about and face, because there's a lot about healing in the church, and some people do get healed, but some people don't, and that can be quite difficult to deal with, and to kind of know how do we kind of navigate our faith in the midst of unanswered prayers and things like that. So it's definitely, this isn't just a book for people who are struggling and feeling weary, but it's by someone that has also struggled and felt weary and kind of had some of those kind of moments of wrestling with God through things as well. So sorry
to cut in. I was going to say, the chapter on well-being, for instance, would that kind of be a chapter for anyone who any storms in life, and would that chapter be like an uplift for them, say when they've read that chapter, at the end of reading that chapter or that section of your book, will they be feeling much better or stronger as to how to go on with their journey in terms of healing? Or maybe, I don't know if they're like verses in the Bible that I don't know, because I haven't really laid my hands on the book, so I'm just kind of going with what I've read online. Would that be?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the whole book really is about well-being, and it's about so each topic is a different aspect, I guess, of our lives, and what well-being looks like. But yes, it's hopeful. It's not kind of a It's
Oh,
not a depressing read, but
that's
it acknowledges that sometimes life is hard, but there's definitely hope in
oh,
there. And I think that it will be uplifting for people to kind of just be able to think about what does living well look like in my situation, and how can I invite God into this. And yeah, I think it's hopeful. That's what other people have told me as well, that it has a kind of hopeful tone, and yeah, gently hopeful, I think somebody said it was, which is a nice thing to have it described as. So
then hopeful. Okay. I believe we all need hope right now. So
yeah.
go back to normal, if there's what they call normal. So if you've got any questions you would like to ask Jo, just kind of pop them in the chat, and I'm sure she'll be able to respond to you. Thank you. So how do you, Jo, balance making demands on the reader with taking care of the reader? How do you balance making demands on the reader with taking care of the reader?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question for a book like this,
Right.
because as we're talking about, people that have anxiety or maybe live with depression or chronic illness and things like that, I was really conscious that I didn't want it to be an extra pressure on them. I didn't want it to be something that's heavy, and I did want it to be hopeful. But I also did want to, it's a devotional. The idea is to kind of help us to get closer to God. So I also wanted to have, to challenge readers as well, and kind of, in a gentle way, to kind of think about their lives and think about God, and how they were relating to Him and their relationship with Him. So yeah, that was definitely a balance that I thought about. And actually, I also, because I work as a music therapist as well, with people with learning disabilities, but that therapist training, I know that some of those questions that I've asked in there might kind of bring up painful feelings for particular people, depending on their situation and their background. They might be quite hard for someone to answer, and some readers might actually need sort of some more support in those areas. They might need a therapist, or they might need some pastoral care, or whatever it might be. So yeah, in the introduction, I kind of talked about, if some of these questions seem difficult, if some of these topics are hard to think about, that might be a sign that maybe you could use some further support, and maybe you want to either discuss it with someone or kind of look for some pastoral care or some therapy or something like that. Because I was very conscious I didn't want to leave people kind of going, this is too much, and this is a book that I hope will help, but it's definitely not a replacement for that kind of individual support that is out there. And I'm a big believer in kind of, therapy and medication when it's needed, and all of those different avenues that can be helpful for some people, not everyone, but obviously it depends on
Individual.
their particular situation.
Signpost people if it's relevant to their situation. It could signpost them on their faith journey.
Yeah.
So is there like a journey through the book whereby it looks like I started off on this end, and then by the time I carried on reading, I got to the end, maybe I felt a bit better about my situation? Is there something like a thread through your book?
Yeah, I'd say there's a loose thread. So there's 13 topics in here, and you can just dip in and out and pick a topic that particularly appeals to you. But if you go through from the beginning to the end, it kind of progresses from sort of general lifestyle kind of topics, so rest, healthy community, looking after our bodies, those kind of lifestyle things. And then the kind of middle section has topics that I've sort of said are to do with our hearts, so managing our feelings, dealing with our thoughts, and then a topic on grace, understanding grace, and one on our identity in Christ. So those fundamental heart things, I guess. And then the final section is more to do with our faith journey, so about knowing God, how to relate to God when you're suffering, those sorts of things. And then the final topic is called hope, and that's about thinking about, eternity and kind of fixing our minds on things above, as it says in the Bible. So yeah, so there is a kind of journey through, but it can also be taken in whatever order people want to as well.
Or form. That's up to the reader. So I noticed your book was published here by Malcolm somebody Down.
Malcolm Down, yeah.
Yeah. So did you want to share a bit about your publishing experience? Because I know there are lots of authors out there who struggle. Oh, which way should I self-publish? Should I go traditional? Should I go, so is it okay if you wanted to share a bit about your journey?
Yeah, of course. Yes, that was definitely a big thing that I struggled with for a bit of like, what do I do with this? And I didn't want to think about it too much until I'd finished the book, because I thought otherwise I'll get discouraged, because I'll just think, how am I ever going to get this out there? So when I finally did sort of start looking into publishing, I kind of decided that looking into traditional publishing wasn't going to be the route for me, partly because it's incredibly difficult. I don't have an agent or anything like that. I'm not somebody with a big platform. So I thought that's just not going to happen. And also, traditional publishers, it seems to often take kind of, up to 2 years to get a book out. And I thought, this book's for now. I want it out now. I don't want to wait for 2 years. Yeah. So I didn't go that route. I did think about self-publishing and felt quite daunted at that prospect.
Right.
Malcolm Down is kind of in the middle, really. Right. So it's, I think sometimes it's called a hybrid publishing. Okay. So they do all the work and with the editing and the cover design and all of that sort of stuff. And you don't pay for those services. Okay. But what you do is you kind of buy into the publishing process by buying books yourself. Oh, okay. I had to buy a certain number of books at a kind of 50% discount to kind of help towards those costs of publishing. So they're a small publisher. I believe they do also do traditional deals occasionally as well. Okay. But they kind of have a range of different options depending on the kind of book that you submit to them. But yeah, Malcolm's been really helpful during the whole process and put up with my perfectionism. Sorry?
They have a good support system.
Yeah, I mean, I think I was kind of, my book was finished. I guess, some other books might need a bit more work, but because I've been working on it for 3 years and I'd kind of had a friend edit it already and things like that. So I think it was kind of almost there. So they did re-edit it and they did do the cover and everything else. But it was quite close to being kind of ready to publish. But yes, I mean, he's been really, really helpful. I'm a bit of a perfectionist, so I'd kind of send things back and go, oh yes, can we just change this and change that? And he was very patient with me. And he's done really well in kind of, they obviously market it themselves and they get you kind of opportunities in the press and things like that. So yeah, I think that's a good option. Obviously you have to have some money to be able to put into it and buy those books, but it's a good option if you're in that position.
So if anyone was about finishing their book, would you be recommending the publishing route you went down? Or if you had to republish a book next time, would you still go down the same route?
That's a good question. And I think it's probably too early to tell.
Okay.
I definitely, so far, I think, the process has been really great. But obviously I don't know yet how well the book's going to be selling. How many I'm going to sell myself versus how many they sell. So I think that's something that I'll be looking at to kind of think for the next book. And also having learned quite a bit myself, I think if I did self-publish next time, I'd feel more confident to do that. Right. So I think I definitely appreciated kind of having a helping hand for this first book. And I certainly would use them again if it felt right for the book I was doing. Yeah,
I suppose for the first book it's nice to use a publisher, and then once you've learned the ropes, then
possibly. I don't know, I'm still kind of in this first stage, really. So who knows? I mean, he might sell loads, and I might think, wow, this is really,
Possible.
stuff I couldn't have done myself. So, yeah.
I said I didn't know this was your first book. I actually thought you had published before.
No, this is the first one.
Well, great. So well done and congrats once again. Yeah. So if you could tell your younger writing self, thank you, Ole, for joining us. We now have 3 people watching. I think one person has dropped off now. If you could tell your younger writing self anything, what would it be?
I think, I mean, like I sort of said at the beginning, I didn't really have a kind of ambition to write a book at this point. When I was much, much younger, I did. But I'd sort of gone in a different direction. I wrote songs and kind of wrote music. And then kind of found myself back here sort of unexpectedly, really, just because I had this idea that I believe, I think God inspired me to write this. So I wouldn't go back and do anything different, I guess. I think I would just tell my younger self to just keep being creative in whatever ways make you happy, and let God work out the rest.
Yes.
I think sometimes he kind of, he doesn't necessarily tell us where we're going. You just sort of look back and think, oh, right, he's kind of led me here, but I didn't realize that that's what was happening. So,
wow.
Yeah, I certainly, before I had the idea for this book, I wouldn't have expected that I'd be here now. This wasn't in my plans. So I think God has better plans than I do.
Yeah. That's very powerful, because I can see you are a Christian and a faith woman, and this is a faith book for anyone out there who is starting on their journey. And like you rightly said, yes, you might not necessarily know where you're going, but if your faith tells you to carry on, he will never leave you. He will stand by you. And yeah,
absolutely.
Do you want, because this is a question, do you want each of your books to stand on their own, or are you trying to build a body of work with connections between each book? Like, should we be looking forward to a volume 2, or is this on its own?
I have thought about that, if there's other kind of topics for future journals with this kind of format. I don't know. I'm not sure about that one. Right. But definitely what I do want to do, my next project, if you like, is actually to adapt this book that I've just written, to adapt that into a much simpler language for people with learning disabilities. So that's really something that's been on my heart since the beginning of this project. Right. But I realized it was going to have to be 2 books. So this is for a general audience. But the next one will cover the same topics and the same kind of content, but much simpler, and written in a kind of easy read format for people with learning needs, which is another thing that I'm really passionate about, because there's not an awful lot of kind of Bible study resources and devotional resources, or even kind of faith resources, really, for people that have learning needs, who can often understand quite a lot, but need it sort of explained more simply, and just need that little bit of extra time to understand it. So that's my next project. It will be easy read, refresh. Yeah. So that's definitely my next project. And after that, I don't know. Maybe I'll write some more stuff for people with learning needs. Maybe it'll go in a different direction. I'm not sure yet, but
I think we'll see. Good, and that might even appeal to younger kids as well. Maybe they might find it easier.
Yes, yeah, it might do. Yeah.
Special needs, so I think it's a good idea, because even the young Christians or children with faith, so definitely that's a good move. So, what would you have done differently next time?
I don't know. That's a hard question. I think I don't think I would have changed anything about this process that I've just done. Next time, I think I would be thinking about the publishing options much earlier. Right. Like I said, with this one, I deliberately didn't want to think about that, because I thought I'll just get discouraged and I'll stop writing. So I think that was the right decision. But now that I do know more, I think I would be kind of planning that from the beginning. And I've also built up I've got a website now. I'm starting to build up a little bit of a a little bit of an audience, so I'd be promoting it earlier and talking about it.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think that's probably the things I would change.
Okay. And you nearly touched on last question there, that if anyone wanted to buy this book, where can they get it? What?
So you can get it from various different bookshops, places like Amazon and Eden. But you can also get it from my website, which is valleyofsprings.com. And those will be signed copies. If you order direct from me, I'll sign them and I'll put in a little custom bookmark as well that we've had made.
Oh.
So yeah, buy them from me, but buy them anywhere. That would be lovely.
You have all these things also that you are promoting, like the baskets. I don't know if that was during Christmas. You had like a little thing.
Yeah, the gift box. Yeah, we do have a refresh gift box, which includes a copy of the book, but then it also has various little gifty things like some sweets and a couple of little tea lights. What else does it have? It has the bookmark and the pen and a hand cream. So it's just a nice kind of gift if you've got a friend or somebody that you want to kind of treat, or just you want to treat yourself. You can buy that. And we've also just put on sale actually some photo prints that my husband, not the photos from the book, but other photos that he has done because he's very talented.
Oh,
You can also buy some photographic prints now in A4 and A3. So yeah, so that's all at valleyofsprings.com.
Oh, Valley of Springs. Okay.
Yeah.
So is there anything else you would like to share with the audience? I don't know, especially maybe around, I don't know how your marketing journey has developed. I know you spoke about your publisher trying to help get you interviews. Is there anything you might want to share that could inspire anyone? Because a lot of authors and writers kind of not sure where to turn regards to marketing.
I'm really still feeling my way on that because marketing and promotion are not really in my skill set, and it's quite a steep learning curve in kind of trying to start off with that. But yeah, I mean, the things I'm doing at the moment really are kind of basic things like I have a Facebook and Instagram where I post, and I blog on the website. I have an email list if anybody wants to join that. I send out emails just like once a fortnight or so with our updates and other things. But yeah, I'm always looking for new ideas to kind of just build that audience. I think that's the thing that is key, and that's the thing that's I find quite hard, but I'm trying. So hopefully it's getting there. It's getting there.
But I guess we will hit the barrier one day and everyone will be bestsellers and be able to
Yes, I hope so.
So Joe, it's been amazing having you on the channel today, and if you have any question that you might want to ask Joe, I still think you've got 2 people watching. They haven't posted you any question. But what I will do is I will screenshot this and upload it on YouTube as well, and then I'll send you a link on YouTube. But with regards to Instagram, I don't know how to share that one, but it will be on my reel. There's
brilliant.
Yeah,
thank you so much, Sabina. It's been a really good discussion as well. It's been really nice chatting about it.
Thank you.
So thank you for inviting me on.
Oh wow, it's lovely having you and to hear about your journey, and we'll connect soon. Hopefully.
Yeah, definitely.
But thank you for coming on air, and thank you for all those that have watched us, Creative, Ezio and Rian and Ole. So thank you, Joe, and have a wonderful evening.
Thank you. You too. Bye-bye.
Bye. Yeah. You know what? I can't end the video, Joe.
I think I can leave. Shall I leave? And then maybe you'll be able to do it. Bye-bye.
Bye. You leave and let's see you leave. Okay. So can't eat from my own video. Thank you, Ole. You're still watching. I'm still live. I know.